having solved linear inequalities one at a time, now let's turn it up a notch and try and solve multiple at the same time, or rather just two. Okay, so here's an example that we're going to work out eventually, and this, believe it or not, this does happen in some classes. Not many at our institution, but at other institutions, this does happen. So final grade, all you have making up your final grade is the average of 3 exam scores, and that's it. No homework, no participation, no nothing. Bomb an exam, you really bomb the exam. Okay, each exam is out of 100 points, and so on the first 2 exams you get a 91 and 74. Your aim is to get a B in the course, and the range is 83 to 70 or 86. So what do you need on the 3rd exam to receive that grade? And so some of you might just say, oh well, I'm going to guess and check, right? Yes, but we're going to solve this mathematically with using a bit more rigorous procedure. Okay, so here when we do this, we're going to solve a compound inequality, and really what we're going to do is we could break it into 2 separate inequalities, but it's a single statement that it has 2 inequality symbols. So it might be something like a is less than let's do m times x plus n is less than or equal to b. Okay, so you're going to see something like that, and the inequalities have to point in the same direction. Again, you could reverse them, but then that would likely mean that this form is awkward to me. You can do it, but it's weird. Okay, so if you wanted to break it into 2 inequalities, it would be this part is 1, and this is the second part. Okay, so you could solve the 2 separately, put them together, and then on a number line you would have to find the intersection. Okay, and we made that optional. So if you want to do the method of do the 2 and intersect them, great, but you have to go back and watch the intersection video. Okay, so here we go. Let's go ahead and solve this. So I'm going to say let x be your 3rd exam score. And so what it says, the final grade is an average of the 3 exams. So to do an average, right, you add everything up and divide by the number of things you added up. So 91 plus 74 plus x, right, and you divide that by 3, okay, and then now you're shooting for a B in the class, so really what you want is this to be between, and we'll say less than or equal to 86, so you need to be between 86 and 83 on the low end, so somewhere in there, right? Now, to solve this, again, you could split it into 2, find the intersection, great. I'm not going to do that. To solve a compound inequality, what you actually end up doing is think about solving a linear inequality, but just whatever you do to one piece, you have to do to all 3 pieces. So my first step, I don't like dealing with fractions that much. I can, but I don't like it. So I'm going to multiply by 3 to this middle chunk, but that forces me to multiply by 3 to the right chunk and the left chunk. Okay, and so when I do this, 249, and then less than or equal to, okay, and then this is going to end up being 258. 258. Okay, and so then there's going to be plus x. I'm going to combine the 91 and 74 to get 165. Okay, and then the last step would be to subtract 165 from each of the 3 pieces. Minus 165, okay, and I'm going to come up here just for space, and I end up getting 84 to 93. Okay, so this is the algebraic representation, but what I would really say is, since it's in context, I would write my result in words. You need an exam score between and including 84 and 93. Okay, and that's how I would conclude this problem. Okay, I like this one because it's responding to the context with a context. Okay, and generally when we're in a context, it's good to respond in context. All right, you could, again, in terms of other representations, you could do this on a number line or whatever. Any of those other forms that we already discussed. But that's the key idea behind solving compound linear inequalities. You set things up as needed or work with what you're given, but whatever you do to one part, you have to do to all three parts. All right, so that kind of summarizes this, and then we'll move on and do some more application problems next.